finds a way into its hearts to enfranchise in the Minnesota tradition of counting votes as opposed to kicking votes out. I think you've seen a well-argued case on both sides by the lawyers involved. I think we all feel very good that our side was the side that wanted to enfranchise voters, and the Al Franken side was the side that didn't count all the votes. So that is a positive, and we will move forward from there. I would just note in the sort of details of today that the testimony from Joe Mansky of Ramsey County on a number of votes shows the inaccuracies of the Secretary of State voter registration system to this day. It is not complete, and within the period of March 3rd to March 11th, he testified on a number of ballots where the information was changed and people who they thought had voted, in fact, had not voted, and their ballots remain unopened and uncounted. And the Secretary of State database was wrong about that information about those individuals. So the process continues. It will be a star-studded jam-packed 2 hours of oral argument tomorrow, riveting you all to your seats, I'm sure. Uptake's viewership will probably overtake NBC tomorrow. With that, if there are any questions left to be asked,
who's going to argue your side?
Jeff.
What do you do with it? You're pointing out this alleged flaws in the Secretary of State voter system. Tomorrow is the end. What do you do with it?
Well, we hope that we have made the case to the court that it needs to take all of this into account as it meets its statutory obligation of determining, certifying the number of legally cast votes for each candidate. And I think this evidence of the mistakes in the Secretary of State database goes to the difficulties, if not the inability, to do that. So that's what we do.
And so if they believe you and think the SVRS is fatally flawed, then they can count those votes? Then you start all over again? Then you argue that out?
Then you have, well, I think what you have is a presumption that voters who are still excluded because of registration issues, either for the voters themselves or the witnesses, in fact, are not completely ruled out of play yet. I mean, you have a database that the Secretary of State's office today, their official certification with the state seal on it, said it is still incomplete. It is not final. And so that means, the principle that boils down to is that individual voters stand to not have their votes counted because that database is not complete. So it would be a great misfortune for those votes not to be counted at this point.
Which votes would they be? Are they under list of 1360?
List of 1316, I think. Well, I'm not sure about the 1360. Certainly on the 4800.
So you didn't approve each of those people.
I think the essential point is that if you have an incomplete database system, proof cannot be found.
So are you asking them to consider going back to their February 13th decision, basically expanding the pool now from 3,000 to 1,740?
This case is going on two tracks. One is the number of ballots that they will open, but we also feel good about. There's the larger principle, there's the additional principle of issues that remain unresolved. That is one of those issues. And what we've asked for all along is that all the votes, we listed them in 4,800, there